the courtesy of that seems to be gone. And yet we are expecting kids
Yes.
to say, excuse me, thank you, wait, be patient, consider the other person, speak up, and all of this stuff. But yet we're not modeling that for them. And I'm not... Hey, welcome to the 41st episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Frederick.
And today we're going to be talking about courtesy. Is that just so last century, or is it a tradition that we should continue today? I mean, something as simple as putting on your blinker, letting people know you're changing lanes, to speaking when you walk in the room. Have people forgotten just those simple things that we learned in kindergarten, the common courtesy? Or are we just, doing away with it the way we are cursive writing? I don't know. Today, we're going to be talking about that and trying to decide, is this something that we need to pay attention to so that we still stay connected as a society, as a people? Or are we just letting that go? So stay tuned while we get into this topic.
Yeah, because honestly, I miss it. So stay tuned for the conversation. All right. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is, well, the other day I was at the doctor's office, and I'm sitting there, and just like in most doctor's offices, you only have a few seats.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one seat next to me that was empty. All the rest of the seats were filled with patients. This woman comes in, and with her two young adult sons. And the sons come in, and one of them immediately sits in the seat next to me, leaving his mother, who's walking around in high heels, to stand up.
Mm.
Now, both of these guys, I keep trying not to say boys, but they look like they were in their early 20s, but they were like in sneakers.
Okay.
And this guy he sits down, and he's on his phone and on his tablet, and he's just sitting there. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
You've got your mother. And the reason why I knew it was his mother, because she went in to check in. It's like she said, I'm here with my sons, so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is crazy. So I stood up and I said, ma'am, you can have my chair, because I've got sneakers on. I see you've got heels on.
Right.
I don't want you standing up like that.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, it's okay. I said, ma'am, seriously, you need to sit down. This makes no sense at all.
Right.
And the whole time that she and I are talking, her son that was sitting down is totally oblivious to our conversation. He's sitting there on his phone.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I got a seat.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, who would do that to his mother?
Right.
So that's why I wanted us to have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen situations like this?
I mean, all over, from the young people to the older people. I think the art, I don't want to say it's an art. To me, it's a common courtesy, but I think we've been excusing young people from having manners like, oh, they're just a teen. Oh, they're not paying attention. Oh, and so we don't enforce it, right? And so what we don't enforce and teach in kids, usually they grow up to be those kind of people who don't do some of those kind of mannerisms.
Yeah.
And I see it in the classroom where, they brush up against somebody or walk in between people who are sitting on the rug, and they don't say, excuse me, right? And they step on their finger. And instead of saying, oh, gosh, I stepped on your finger, are you okay? It's like they're annoyed that you're annoyed that your finger got stepped on. Right? So we are seeing people just not saying thank you, not only not holding doors for the person behind them, but if the person in front of them held the door for them, not even saying thank you, not even an acknowledgement with eye contact or anything,
right? As
if either you're supposed to do it or they are just so far removed from the moment that they don't even notice that someone held the door for them.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to become more aware and make sure that we are saying thank you and excuse me when someone lets you in, when you're driving, just a quick nod head, hand up, like some type of acknowledgement. But I think we're becoming very comfortable with just not looking at or talking to people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if social media and being on Zoom and being all of that time period, I'm not sure how long this has been going on, but if some of that has to do with us not connecting. Because I remember when we came back into the classroom from Zoom, the kids would be talking while someone's talking, just not focused. And I said, what is going on with you guys? Like, why are you having trouble with this? And the kid, and this is second grade, and the kids were saying, well, you were used to being silenced, right, on Zoom, right? People can't hear you talking in the background.
Yeah.
And just not having to completely focus, doing multiple things. And I mean, they were being honest about it, but I still don't understand how even when you're at home and you're around people live, how do you not have courtesy, or how are we not making sure that people are using it?
Right.
If we call somebody out on it, the person's going to get an attitude. I'm not sure how we handle this, but it's definitely, I feel an impact, and I think other people do too, because just simply saying, excuse me, I'm sorry, pardon me, taking the time to have a 1 minute conversation with somebody about something will lower stress, I believe.
Absolutely.
So I've seen it quite a bit. I try, I don't think that I do it. When I walk into a room, I try to say hello, but some people don't even lift their head. So it's hard to do that. Or you're walking past them and you're going opposite of each other. So you're definitely crossing each other's paths. But if you refuse to put your eyes on their eyes, then it's not even a welcoming. It's almost like, don't speak to me, is what it feels like.
Yeah. And so for me, some of these, I was kind of curious within myself was, are these just my own pet peeves, or is this really about someone being courteous? And for me, a lot of times it happens when it comes to being on the road. People slowing down to make a right turn and not putting a turn signal on.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, why is that so hard to put a turn signal on? Or you'll see someone trying to make a lane change, and they'll slow down and they will hold up everyone who's behind them trying to make a lane change, and won't put on a turn signal to let people know, hey, I'm trying to make a lane change.
Right.
It's like, why is that so hard to just put a turn signal on?
Right.
Things of that nature.
Right.
Another one that gets me, and maybe it's just a pet peeve of mine, because I lived in Germany for 2 years, but people driving in the left lane who aren't passing. For those of you who don't understand, the left lane is not a fast lane. It's a passing lane. If you're not passing, you shouldn't be in it. It's a passing lane. It's not a fast lane.
Right.
And you get people who, they come onto the highway and they peg over to the left lane and they just coast.
Right.
It has nothing to do with speed. It has nothing to do with how fast you're going. If you're not passing, you should move over. And people don't understand that accidents do happen because of people's inability to move over. So just little things like that, in the grocery store, when you see someone struggling and you don't even take the time, hey, can I help you out? Nothing like that. Another one was at the same time at the doctor's office, when I pulled in, this young lady parked right next to me, and I saw her. She opened up the lift gate of her truck, and she had all of these boxes. And I stood there initially because I saw a lot of other people walking past, and I just wanted to see how other people were going to react. And people just kept on walking like it was nothing. And I'm like, wow, here you got this young lady. She's got these big boxes, and she's trying to carry them all on her own. And I said, ma'am, you've got to let me help you carry some of these boxes. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And I see that no one else is going to help you. And she was like, no, that's okay. No, it's not okay. I'm going to help you with these boxes. This makes no sense. That people and it wasn't just the fact that they didn't help. They didn't even look over to notice that a fellow human being is struggling with boxes. Right. You didn't even look over. So I'm thinking that, are we so inside of our own minds and our own thoughts that we can't think about each other?
I agree. I definitely think that's an issue where people are just not present.
Yeah.
But also sometimes it's intentional.
Yeah.
Like going back to the driving, like as soon as I put my signal on, all of a sudden people will speed up.
Yeah.
Not fast enough to go past so that I can go over, but just fast enough so that I can't go over.
Yes.
I remember one time I was trying to get on the 405 off Velocity and I was just going to work. And I signaled for someone to let me in.
Yeah.
And he purposely, there wasn't a ton of room. Had he just either kept his pace or slowed down a tad bit, I would have been able to get in. But instead he sped up, not wanting me to get in.
Yeah.
So I had to just keep going straight. And I saw him smash right into the person in front of me because he sped up so much trying to keep me out that he wasn't paying attention that the other car was going slow because we were going onto the freeway. And it was like, wow, now you just caused an accident. For what? Because you don't want to let me in? I mean, we're not going into the Last Supper. We're going into the freeway. So, I mean, sometimes people act like it has to be me. I have to be at the front. I have to be first. I have to push past you. It's like a competition. And it's just calm down, slow down. We're all trying to get somewhere safely, right? Like, let's slow down. Like, you letting me in front of you is not now putting you behind the race, you know?
Yeah. But another thing that you had, sorry to interrupt, but it was another thing that you had talked about a few minutes ago, having to do with on the road that I think we've also lost, is that when someone does put on their turn signal when they need to get over and you let them over, they're supposed to wave or say something.
Yes.
And that's what I do. If someone lets me over, I'm going to wait. Thank you. I appreciate it. Something, you know, and I've seen where, you know, people, they don't even care. It's like, yeah, you should, as if I'm obligated to I'm not obligated to let you over. I've slowed down to let you in the lane.
Yeah.
You know, little wave or something that it doesn't hurt you. You know, it almost seems as if people feel like they're losing something by being courteous.
Yes.
As if it costs them something.
Right.
When it really doesn't.
Right.
I think that we have to, and this is where I start talking to myself as well. In terms of getting off our phones and getting off of electronics when we're out in the public. And I try to talk to people more when I'm at the supermarket at the checkout line. I talk to the cashier. I talk to the other people in line, just trying to have civil conversation. You don't know what that does for people's days.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people are having a bad day. I've noticed that a lot of times with our son Joseph, because he's always have a nice day and always trying to give a kind word to people. And I've had people from our old building in West Hollywood that would come up to me and say, you know, I was having a really bad day, and your son came up with these kind words and just turned it around. And people don't realize how sometimes just a little bit of kindness, just a couple of words of kindness can turn someone's day around.
I agree. Like if I'm being serviced, let's say I'm going to Trader Joe's or something, right? And the cashier is like, how's your day going? They're pretty good about that. How are you doing, right? And so I find that when I ask, how are you? They're always like, oh, thanks for asking. I think a lot of times the customer might just be like, oh, you know, tell them how their day is, but don't ask back. Right. And I think that's important to do that because they're all day long asking people how their day is and no one's asking them back. Yeah. And it's just a small little thing, but like you said, it does tend to make people feel a lot better. And also, I think another courtesy is like complimenting someone, especially when you know they've done well or you see other people complimenting them and you're like, I'm holding back my compliment. I don't know if it's jealousy or whatever. Like, oh, they already have 5. They don't need my number 6. I don't know what it is, but some people are like that where they just cannot give you a compliment. Yeah. Or they can only give it to certain people. I don't know what their criteria is, but you can see them watching. Yeah. They're watching everything you do. But to say something positive to you about it, it's like the courtesy of that seems to be gone. And yet we are expecting kids to say, excuse me, thank you, wait, be patient, consider the other person, speak up, and all of this stuff. But yet we're not modeling that for them. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm sure there's times where I don't look up and my mind is on something or whatever. But I would say generally I do. Maybe not so much out in the public. I'm not too much of a person who just randomly talks. But that is something that I would like to work on. I think I have moments where I'm better about that and trying to make eye contact with someone and just smile. I know that smiling Not saying people should walk around smiling, because I do not like when men are like, what, smile. They try to tell you what to do with their face. We don't typically tell men that, but I do know that it does make a difference. And I'll tell you why. A teacher that I work with, she's always smiling. When she looks at the kids, she's always smiling. And I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to try that. It's almost like a pageant smile. And I said, I'm going to try that. And I can see the difference when they're coming up to me to either tell me or ask me something that might be difficult. If my face is soft and smiling, I see them completely melt down and into comfort, versus if I'm doing, you know, RBG face or whatever, or whatever the letters are, RBG, like whatever the letters are. RBF, I think it is. They really do. It just causes a calm. And I think the same way, when I see somebody smile at me, it does just like loosen you up for a minute, you know? So I think those little things we need to bring it back. Yeah.
And I think also, like, if I'm at the airport, if I'm at the grocery store, if I'm in places where people, I'm coming into contact with people who have had bad experiences a lot of times with the customers before, I really try to do a little bit better to turn that situation around. You know, I've seen it where, you know, sometimes in the airport, you've had people where they're yelling and screaming at the person at the counter because whatever reason having to do with their flight or their luggage or everything, you know, and a lot of times it's not that person's fault. And so now all of a sudden their day has been turned around because they've been yelled at and they can't yell back, of course. And so I try to go up to them and, you know, I really appreciate what you do and thank you so much for keeping your calm in these situations. And I know this is not easy and just trying to look out for situations like this. You know, I learned this, you know, from my father. You know, growing up and, you know, this is another one of those situations where more lessons are caught than taught. But my father was always the kind of person that he just spoke to everybody. And he still does that. But I mean, but as a child, he spoke to everybody. And growing up, he knew everybody at the grocery store, at the gas station. He was an avid tennis player, so he knew everybody at the tennis club. You know, at the job, everyone who worked in that office building knew my father because he spoke. He took the time to speak and get to know everyone. And so what I try to do, especially when I see that I've gotten too deep into my podcast or my Audible book and I'm around people, it's like, no, put it down. Let's try to be amongst humanity. You know, let's try to be a human for a while and just speak to people and talk to people and see how their day is going. Get out of your head, get out of your feelings and see if you can, you know, brighten the day of someone else. It's huge.
And I think that's something I'm always going to be going back to, what we can do with kids, because I believe that's the way to really change the world. I think making sure kids do that. I mean, sometimes people will say, oh, they're just a kid. They're just this age. And they excuse away, you know, their age and that what's appropriate for them to do or not do. But honestly, if we think back in times, kids were like, ma'am, yes, excuse me, thank you. People took their hats off. I'm not saying we have to go to those extremes, but I do notice a difference generationally. Like one of my students being raised by his great grandmother, and he always says, please, thank you, excuse me. Like it's automatic out of his mouth. You know, I'm passing out papers to students, you know, I have 20 something students and maybe 2 say thank you, you know, and he says it all the time automatically. Now, once I say, don't forget to say thank you, then of course everyone's saying it, but for him, it's automatic. And I think that was instilled in him. And so it's possible. Right. And I think I automatically say, excuse me, thank you. I say sorry all the time, which drives you nuts. Right. And you say sorry too, actually.
I do, but I mean it.
Of course you do.
That's because I've actually screwed up.
No. So I think it can be done. I know it can be done. We used to have more of that. And I think that will help us all be a little bit, it'll add a little glimmer to our day and our lives if we just have some more courtesy and stop just only thinking of ourselves. And I know there's a time where we always thought of the other people. We never thought of ourselves. And now we're swinging to only thinking of ourselves. And we need to like remember that we're living in this world together. right? And we're not alone. There's somebody around you. Be aware of your surroundings and read body language and read people's, expressions and act accordingly, and not just moving like everything's a transaction.
Yeah, and ask yourself, how many times has it happened to you? Because I know that there have been times that I've had a bad day, and someone has given a kind word to me, which has just turned it around, and someone you don't even know,
Right.
that can just out of a couple of words out of their mouth can just turn your day around.
Right.
It's the most wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But yes, like you said, you got to get out of your own head for a moment.
Yeah. And not just strangers, but your family too,
Yes.
right? Like, because in our home, we all cook, right? Including Joseph.
Yes.
And so we're always like, well, thank you for that meal. Thank you for, even if it's ordering food, thank you for ordering the food.
Yes.
It's just, it seems so small, right? And I imagine someone, if one person cooks all the time, they probably don't get that, right? But just think about that. Tell whoever cooked, whoever made your bed, whoever bought you whatever, cleaned up that day. Just know that if things are all in its place and you have what you need, that's because somebody did it for you.
Yes.
And to stop and like say thank you for doing that. Like, I thank you for doing this podcast, and I know that it's getting on your nerves that I don't know how to do more, but you're teaching me how to do it. But I am appreciative of you taking the time to do all of this work. You know, I'm taking it for granted because I'm thinking like, okay, that's just your job, but knowing you have other stuff to do as well. And, I appreciate you doing it and teaching me how to do it too. But saying thank you, I think, is huge.
It is.
It's just probably one of the easiest things to say, and just taking the time to talk to someone and not expecting people to know what you want.
Yes.
I've had my students like, I need to put this away at my desk, and someone's standing in front of it. Well, did you tell them? Like, no. Like, I walked over there. Okay, but you have to say something, right? And then I walked over there and said it, but they didn't hear me. Well, you also didn't say it loud enough. Can you say it a second time?
Right.
Like, people, their patience is so short.
Yes, it is.
I need what I want right now. And if I don't, you're the problem.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to slow all the kids down to be like, that person didn't hear you. Take a moment to say, excuse me. I'm sorry. Are you okay? You knock someone over. You don't just say sorry and look at them on the ground. Pick them up. You want me to take you to the nurse? Like something. Like those little things go such a long way.
They really do.
And it keeps that person from feeling like such a victim maybe.
Yeah.
And it just shows that you care about what just happened.
I agree. I mean, one of the things I noticed, like, when we go out to eat with Joseph, and one of the things I've always appreciated about him is that when we go out to eat, when we're finished eating, he likes to put the plates and the silverware all together, so that making it a little bit easier for the person bussing the tables. Now, what does he get out of that? Nothing.
Right.
But he said they've got a lot of stuff they have to do. I just want to make it a little bit easier for them. And what's wrong with that?
Right.
It costs you nothing.
Right, exactly.
Just trying to make it a little bit easier for someone else. If we all did that, I mean, just imagine what we would do. Now, also keep in mind, and I don't know exactly how to say this, but having moved out here from the East Coast, I don't know if this is just a West Coast thing, because I feel like where I'm from in Maryland, there's still more courtesy. I don't know if it's still the way it was when I grew up, but I still feel like there's more courtesy.
I would agree. I would say, as a person who's traveled a little bit, I would say definitely New Yorkers would get such a bad, reputation about being rude or whatever. But actually, I don't think that's the case. Like, I feel like the East Coast and the South, way more polite, way more courteous. Here, it's like being courteous depends on something, like your status, the way you look. I don't even see you if you're a certain weight or certain something. I don't know. Even in my peripheral, I don't even recognize that you're there unless you look like something I want to look at.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then if I am helping you, it's because I want to get something out of you, your phone number or something. And instead of it just being an automatic thing that you do because the other person is a human. Yeah. So I do notice a difference. Like, I was like, especially in the South, I was like, wow, everyone's not, the men especially, so kind and thoughtful.
Yeah.
And they don't want anything. And is it really just so kind and thoughtful, or is it just common courtesy? Like,
well, yeah. And a lot of it is, and especially like, opening the door for a woman, it seems like out here people act like you're actually doing something extraordinary, whereas back east, that's just how we were raised.
I think
It's not even a big deal.
The whole feminism thing, like, oh, open your own door. Like, there's a big thing about that. And I see it more like, if there's a man coming in behind me or in front of me, like, I can open the door for them. I don't feel like because I'm a woman, you're supposed to.
Right.
I mean,
but honestly, if I'm coming to a door at the same time as someone, it doesn't even matter if it's a man or woman.
Yeah.
I'm going to open the door and let them through first.
Right.
That's just the way I like to do it.
Right.
So whether it's a man or a woman,
yes.
I like to show that courtesy of no, you go through first.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But it's not, I don't look at it as something as extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it as just something that you should do.
Right. It feels extraordinary when you're not used to it. It feels extraordinary when it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And it stands out like another store that stands out to me, where obviously they talk to their employees about, really showing gratitude or, courtesy when a customer walks in, is Pavilions. Like, you walk in there, everybody is like, did you find everything? Do you need anything? Hello. I'm like, whoa. It's such an amazing experience to walk in a store like that. And that's how it should be when you think about it.
Yeah.
Right. But in many stores, it's not. Like, people see you like go searching and they see you struggling and still won't say a thing unless you ask, you know? And there's just, I don't know, maybe everyone just feels so bogged down by so many thoughts and chores and different things that they have to think about. It's like, oh, it's just one less thing. Let me just keep going. I'm just trying to get from A to B. I don't want to talk to anybody. I kind of understand that too, but maybe we all just need to slow down
and just bring a little bit of kindness back, and I even go back to last night when we were going to the movies. We were in a parking garage that was, pretty crazy because there was not a whole lot of spaces. And so you had all these cars and every time you'd see somebody walking towards a car, people would start hunting them down and chasing them. And so we saw this one young lady going towards a car, and I went to put my turn signal on, and this woman swings around with her car and she starts yelling at us. Yeah. I saw her first. And I said, okay, ma'am. Yeah. Okay. You can have the parking space.
Yes.
It's not that it's all yours.
Right. And when she saw your calm, she was calmed and said, I was stalking her. Like, she kind of joked and it brought it down, but she was quick to be like,
but at first, she was pretty angry.
Yes, she was.
I was like, whoa, lady. Yes, it's the parking space is all yours. Right. You can have it. No problem. I will find another one eventually. It's really not a big deal.
Right.
But I mean, it's like people are ready to do combat over a parking space. I'm just not willing to do that. It's not worth it.
I agree. And I think more people are getting hit. I know people shouldn't be just crossing the street. Yes. But people are getting hit because also the courtesy, like, you see that person, even though you know that they shouldn't be in the street. Yes. Why are you still going the same speed or faster towards them? Like, what are you doing? Yes. You know what I mean? Like, slow down, just let them cross or whatever. Everyone's just such a rush to get where they want to go, zipping in and out of traffic, causing accidents, hitting people. Just slow down. Especially you live in a crowded city. Come on.
Now, there's also two sides to that. Now, I'm not with hitting anybody.
Okay.
But I do see it, in certain areas, Beverly Hills and others, where when people see you slow down for them to cross the street, they move just a little bit slower.
Well, because they shouldn't have to run or jog.
And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna make you wait. And it's like, really?
I don't think that's what's happening.
I think that's what's happening with a lot of them. I think
they're slowing down because, like, I don't have to rush and run across the street.
And it's like, no, I think some of them, it's like, you know what?
No.
Since I see you're going to wait.
I don't think so.
I'm just going to take my time.
No.
And you know what? Forget you.
What? An
your
extra
problem.
10 seconds? Patience.
No, but what I'm saying is that it goes both ways. For me, if I'm crossing the street and I see someone slow down for me, for me, I see, okay, well, you're courteous enough to slow down for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be courteous enough to try to get across the street
Mm-hmm.
so that I'm not holding you up too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it both ways.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're going to be courteous to
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm going to also be courteous
Yes.
to you.
As long as they're a person who can move fast, right? Like,
yes.
we don't want older people to feel
Oh,
like
no. Yeah.
You know,
I don't.
people with children.
Right.
Or,
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You
Mm-hmm.
got kids. You go at whatever speed you need to go. I absolutely get that.
Right. Right.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that, and I know that especially with children, I see parents with kids in the grocery store or wherever, and they're constantly apologizing because their kids are good, and it's like, you have no need to apologize.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally get it.
Right.
I've had kids. I know how it gets.
Mm-hmm.
No need to apologize.
Yeah, and that's a courtesy that we need to extend to parents, especially
Yes.
with young children. Like,
yes.
you know, I know it could be irritating sometimes when kids are screaming or whatever's happening,
Yeah.
but they're a part of the world, and we know that that's what they're doing. We
Yes.
were once like that as well.
Yes.
The same as we need to have patience for older people who are slower and may not
Yes.
understand things as like the way they used to. So we need to have that courtesy for those two groups as well.
Yeah, I think you got to give parents some grace, you know, like on the airplane and the baby is crying. And I've seen where people swing around and they're upset with the parents because the baby is crying. It's not the parents' fault.
Right.
You know, when you have a child of that age and they want to cry, they're going to cry. There's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, for me, I try to give the parents a nice look like, hey, I get it.
Yeah.
To try to make them feel a little bit better.
Right.
Because they already feel bad that they're disturbing everybody else on the flight. And so I try to help them and say, hey, I get it. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay.
Right. And with that said, in other situations where you can control your kid and you don't, you allow them to kind of run amok the way you would if you were at home. That also is not courteous.
I've seen that as well.
Like, okay, you're not at home, like different places, different situations.
Yes.
And so just allowing someone to run around in a space that's crowded, where adults can't stop as quickly to move out the way, and there could be your child could be hurt, and then you'll be mad at them. Like, so yeah, we all, like you said, we all have to share this planet. We all need to be courteous. We need to pay attention to the situation and adjust accordingly. Yeah. You know? So.
Yeah. So I think as we wrap this up, we just all need to be just a little bit kinder to each other. But in order to do so, we have to get out of our own heads, out of our own thoughts for a moment, look at the world around us, look at the people around us, and see what other people are going through, and see if there's anything that we can do that doesn't, you know, that's not going to hurt us, where we can kind of make someone else's life a little bit better.
Right. And I'm going to add one piece that I forgot about is even on social media when we're commenting, just being a little more courteous there. I see people making really inappropriate comments about serious topics or feeling like they could say whatever they want to say to someone because they're not in front of their face. You're still putting that out there.
Yes.
You don't know what impact you're having on someone and another person who reads it.
Yes.
I just think, you know, you can go back and forth and have a little bit of banter and argument, but you don't have to personally attack. It's just so disrespectful to start attacking someone by looking at their profile picture or whatever, you know, whatever it is you find, start attacking them because the spelling is not what it should be. You can keep all that in your head. You know, there's a book that I read to the kids, like, there's something about a filter. Like, you know, everything you're thinking, you don't need to say it. Like some things you need to filter yourself.
Yes.
And that could be a huge courtesy right there. So
yeah, and also there's a difference between attacking someone's opinion and attacking the person themselves.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with someone who attacks my opinion, but there's a difference between attacking what someone said and attacking that person.
Right.
So
yeah,
you know, so I think that, you know, hopefully we've said all of what needs to be said.
I think so.
You know, about courtesy, and hopefully it's not so last century. Hopefully we can start to bring it back.
Right.
All right. So for this 41st episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives, I'm Frederick.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Bye.